I'm Marjorie Skinner. Today we're in Revere talking to Judd Hine. Judd is a good friend of mine, and he also happens to be an outstanding wood carver.
Well, we're clamping the block of wood securely to the bench. 2 locations. Make it good and solid. Okay. And what we're going to do is just a very quick demonstration of some basic carving techniques here. So I'm just going to draw a circle on the wood here. And then I'm going to take my veiner tool, which is shaped like a V. And this is what we use just to get around the outline. Get our nice outline here. And we'll take our mallet. A lot of the old master wood carvers use the butt of their hand as a mallet, which feels really neat, makes you feel very manly and everything, but it also creates all sorts of problems in here. You'll see some of them will have huge calluses here and they can't close their hand anymore. Also the old carpal tunnel, all this gets messed up. So do use the mallet, and that's what we're going to do. And we are just going to dig a trough around this outline that I've very quickly put on the wood. And I'm going to make a second pass here, get a little deeper. All right, so here we've got a little V channel around the tool. Now I would take another shape tool that matches the curve of what I've drawn. All right, and then I will take that and basically blow out the sides of the wood around the outline. Now you see it easily breaks into the V that I've already cut. Now, what I'm doing now is just defining the wood that I want remaining, that I'm going to shape into what will be the finished carving. I'm just going to very quickly demonstrate how this background would be taken out if this were carving. Say this block only went to here, okay, and I want all this wood gone. What I would do, this would be the edge of the board, so I'm going to fake an edge in there again with the V tool. Okay, so we've cut that away a little bit. Now we're, again, going to blow the wood away. We'll come back maybe about a quarter to a half an inch at a time, and we're wanting to create like little explosions of wood. Just blow it right out of there. Okay? And there's also the advantage of when you're using the hand tools, you get the feel of the piece and the wood, which becomes very important in the finishing stages of carving. And if you use power tools to rough out, which is the stage we're doing now, roughing out, because we're roughly carving out the shape. If you use power tools to that stage, you lose that feel of the wood, which becomes important in the finish stage. Now what we've got is we've lowered the surface down a quarter inch or so, and it's kind of rough, but we would go with progressively flatter and flatter tools and take that down till all those tool marks are away, and we have a nice background on which our little disc that we're going to carve has sat. Okay. There we go.
Very sharp.
This is a very sharp knife. Your knife should be basically as sharp as a razor. And for any new people who figure they'll be safer by having dull knives, a dull knife is much more dangerous than a sharp knife because you have to push harder. And when you push harder, you lose control, it slips, and a dull knife will cut you much better than a sharp one. Yeah, see, we got some bad wood in there. Now we're just going to shape up this thing here around. You see, the first thing I do is just take the edge off of this corner, and the idea is to take that third dimension of depth and proportionally deal with it in the depth that we actually have. So it's an elliptical shape that we're putting along on the edge of this to just give it the illusion of being a ball.
So you really need to be a graphics artist as well as a wood carver.
The traditional wood carver would have been trained in many, many fields, including cabinet making first, because much of the wood carving that was done as finished work on cabinets. Okay, now we're giving that a little shake. And then you would take your parting tool again and just clean up that edge a little bit. And you would then, again, work on the background some more and clean these up, make these nice and sharp. Here we have a piece. And this is some very low relief work showing a screwdriver, a hammerhead. This is a board I made up as a decoration for one of my toolboxes. It is actually the face of one of my tool drawers, and I just got a little carried away with it. But all of this is in a maximum depth of about 1/8 inch of wood. As you can see, there's some pretty good round, especially on that screwdriver handle. That looks very rounded, and that's just by gradually tapering it off into there, so you get the illusion of a three-dimensional object in a two-dimensional plane, or a slightly bigger than two-dimensional plane.
That's very beautiful.
Thank you.
People see wood carving all the time, and yet they have no idea what goes into making a wood carver or a sculptor in wood, which is what you really are.
That's what I really am. And the time that goes into it. That piece I just showed you, there's probably 30, 40 hours in that piece.
Did you have some proper schooling, as they say?
Most of mine is self-taught. I picked up a knife. In fact, I have my original knife here.
Is that right?
This is my old-timer. I started with that in 1967, and I bought a book by a fellow named Tangerman, who is sort of the god of wood carving. Many, many years later, I finally discovered a source for wood carving tools, the Swiss-made tools. These are very nice tools.
Oh, very good.
And later, I connected up with a master woodcarver who I studied under for a while, and he made me these other gouges I have, which are absolutely gorgeous. These are handmade by a master woodcarver who was trained in the German tradition. These handmade tools were actually made from the center cores of shock absorber, which he obtained from the Midas muffler shop below his studio. It's very good steel, and he knew how to temper and harden and all that magical stuff. He knew how to work the steel, and so he could, in 20 minutes, he could take a core of a shock absorber and turn it into a masterful carving tool, which is an interesting point because that's faster than I could get up to the store to buy one.
When you studied under this master carver,
Jim Loman, by the way.
Jim Loman, was it sort of an apprenticeship like in the old guild days?
Well, that was the idea. I didn't do that because the apprenticeship system was a 24-hour day, 7-day-a-week, often brutal situation, which is what Jim went through. I mean, he literally had his body kicked around the shop on many occasions. Jim did come out of there as a master woodcarver. He is incredible what he can do. Now, I spent, several hours every Saturday for quite some time with him, and he shared with me what he could, but it wasn't an apprenticeship situation. It was just one woodcarver helping out another.
John, I'd like to see some of your things, and I'm sure our audience would too.
Well, I just happen to have some here with me.
That is great.
I was hoping you'd want to see something. This is an early piece I did. This is actually after a Russian piece a friend showed me that was in stone where they had drilled through the holes for the eyes. And I thought it was a fabulous idea, but I took it one step further, so I did the owl on one side and the pussycat on the other.
Oh, my heaven's sake, so you did.
Now, also of interest in this piece is this is a very pure wood-carved piece in that I've actually used the shapes of the gouges to create the forms rather than whittling away to get the shape I want. It's particularly noticeable on the toes and a few other areas where you can actually see what specific gouge was used to create each form. So we've got the owl and the pussycat.
Fantastic.
Now,
That is superb.
thank you. Now, another piece, I studied with an artist in New York for several years and got a little bit abstract. This is called Spirit Enjoying Having a Body. And this is actually a human body, as seen from a spirit's point of view. And,
It's still there?
actually, I never considered that before. I don't know if he's sitting or standing. I know he has his head on his elbow. This is his elbow down here. This is his hand. You see he has 5 fingers. very important. This is anatomically correct. That's very important to realize. We got a nice thumbnail here and the fingernails. The elbow, we got this arm coming down here, and it shoots up over here into the shoulder. And we've got one of the legs coming down here, a foot and another foot. But what it basically comes down to is a study of various forms and lines between forms. We got this little zigzag of flats going here against this nice curve of the leg. We've got this great ball of an elbow against these flat planes of the arms, this curve of the hand. So it's just getting into the winding of different forms.
Beautiful, Judd.
Now this piece is,
Oh, what do we have here?
this is my tropical fish tank. I've always loved tropical fish, but they are rather a nuisance to take care of. So what we have here is Judd's tropical fish tank, and very colorful, also known as snails and fish. And
You told me that you could make things like that, a carver could make things like this out of one piece of wood. But that doesn't look like one piece of wood to me.
well, good. Then I succeeded. This is one piece of wood. This was a big board of pine, of course, and a lot of this was cut out with a coping saw, and then very carefully shaped. And there's just, you'll see, there's just little points where the items are still held together into one thing. But I've also done a pattern for this where it can pick up and repeat into another section, so this could actually be used as a like a crown molding almost, as a continuous piece around a room. It can run continuously.
And I love your water.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for noticing.
Well, they are just beautiful.
Good.
And so much work and talent.
Well, thank you.
It's been wonderful having this time with you, and I'm sure our audience has enjoyed it every bit as much as I have.
Why, thank you for coming.
And thank you for watching.